Uh, I was continuing my walk down the halls in the elementary school. I saw life-size witch posters hanging from the ceiling. Ghost, goblin, skeleton, witches riding brooms, witches stirring cauldrons, and they were plastered all over the hallways in the classrooms. I know a lot of them were cartoon, but I wasn't fooled. I'll never understand why the signs and symbols that are directly connected to the occult, to evil, are allowed to be accepted as normal. I know many parents, myself included, would object strongly to swastikas or even cartoon dolls of Hitler or Stalin being hung and plastered all over the walls. So why? Just because these things form an association to evil. So even the psychologists, they warn their adolescents, mental patients, teenagers who've become involved in the cult. And the first thing to do is get rid of all signs and symbols, of the occult that they have hanging in their room. And they're told to tear them down immediately. And there's a lot of teenagers, children, and even some adults that are being drawn into the occult world through an attraction of this darkness. So after much concern and thought, I went to the principal, who told me I should go to the school board and voice my opinion. As could be expected, I was laughed at, snickered, of course, and ignored, except for one Baptist preacher and another kind lady. The superintendent of the school said in essence I was exaggerating and that Halloween was just a commercial holiday like Thanksgiving and Christmas, not to be taken seriously, and that he had walked the halls of the schools and found nothing inappropriate, and most everything was cartoons and not to be taken seriously. Of course, I responded with paper clippings that just a short time before there was a murder within a mile from the school, involving a young man that had been caught up in the occult. And hanging on the wall were cartoon images of wizards all around the house. Of course, you could have heard a pin drop, but the school board didn't say a word, and I was dismissed. So, and I don't know if it's a coincidence or what, but after their snickering at what God told me to go do, as it turned out, 3 years later, the superintendent was involved in financial shortcomings in the school budget and had to resign, moved to another state, and even there he kept making newspapers. And his secretary, who had laughed at openly, snickered. Of course, had got caught up in some stuff and was fired from the school. And all the others that had posed a warning were not reelected. I don't know if that's a coincidence or God dealt out this justice for rejection. I don't know. It's not my position to judge, but nevertheless, I'm still warning. And at one time, I was pursuing a degree in alcohol and drug abuse counseling uh, after this stuff because I wanted to help others get through what I had been through. And I was doing research for my psychology class that required information on the occult because that was my subject. I obtained information from a local mental hospital, and the lady, who I will not disclose her name, who was at that time the administrative director for the adolescent wing, told me that more than 20% of all her referrals were teenagers who had been involved with the occult activities. She went on to say that she had talked with a lieutenant in the Dallas Police Department uh, who said that the mental hospitals were being inundated with teenagers who were dabbling in the occult. Of course, dabbling means to just undertake something without any real serious intentions. But in overall, there is an alarming increase in occult crimes. And as I was mentioning earlier, she also gave me a copy of a government report published by the FBI Academy in Virginia that says there is a flood of occult and satanic crimes occurring all across the country. Now, the FBI is not a religious organization, but they, unlike many Christians, see firsthand the fruit of the occult that's reviving. the evil darkness of old times, as in the days of Noah, which was not all eating and just drinking, but there was a lot of sorcery in that time. That same darkness is covering the land again. As Jesus said, as in the days of Noah, so it shall be again. And even in the book of Daniel, when it talks about the end times, it's saying that he shall cause his craft to prosper. That craft is not ceramics, it's not porcelain, paintings, or it's not even politics. It's witchcraft, horoscopes, and psychic activity, and, of course, occult knowledge. It's a craft that will influence more than politics, every walk, every aspect of life. Currently, there are some 100 American universities which offer courses in witchcraft. JFK University offers an accredited master's degree in parapsychology as well as psychic training programs. 300 universities, which are 75% state approved, now offer courses directly involved in the New Age. The New Age movement is a religious spiritual movement that is converting occult knowledge into spiritual, psychological, and scientific testimony for the masses. Can you believe that? That's true. That's a new psychology that's being widely accepted, and it's inundated with occult knowledge. Just as I mentioned, or just a few years ago, I'm sorry, as I mentioned earlier, I was pursuing a degree in alcohol and counseling, and I wanted to help others. But when I was taking these courses, I recognized the practices and the terminology that was coming from the books that I had read in the occult books, like guided imagery, creative visualization, active imagination. All these sound real scientific, but just up until, 5-10 years ago, all these were, you could only find this stuff in occult, or Eastern religious books, or books of magic, in the occult bookstores, which used to be one of my favorite hangouts. Guided imagery is a well-known technique in the occult world that is used in meditation to contact spiritual beings. Of course, these practices were just a few of them. They were taken took quite a few psychology courses, and the occult knowledge was just about in all of them. Even modern psychology is full of occult knowledge. It was put there by the founder and the father of modern psychology, Carl Jung. You might want to research this man. He was a well-known psychologist who openly practiced meditation, conducted seances, and practiced a lot of black arts. His occult writings and his theories are being widely accepted today as normal hidden powers of the mind, even though his acquired knowledge came from spirit guides. He even gives the names of his personal spirit guide that gave him all this knowledge. His biography, which was done by Janet Dallett, revealed that he at times could not even distinguish what was real from what was not, which sounds familiar to me. Yet his writings are being accepted as a revelation in the world of psychology today.